Today you are going to be making this right here, 21-sided dice. Ooh, very exciting. You're going to be making it to scale and exactly like I have right here. So I'm going to back up just a little bit and we're going to go to our origin point, which is where the red, blue, and green hit. And I'm going to orbit just a tiny bit so we can see this side right here. I'm going to go in, and first things first today is we are going to create a rectangle. So you're going to go to your rectangle tool either here or right here, click on it, and we're going to put a point right here on the origin point. And right now you'll see that your rectangle is blue. That is good. That means that it's kind of going flat with one of the axis on the green line and one on the red. If it was a different color, you're doing it in the wrong direction. So with our rectangles, right there is called the golden section. And let's see if I can get this right. All right, let's see. There's the square. All right, those words right there help me find different types of the rectangle tool. You'll also notice is if you're in like the golden section and you try to type something that's out of the golden section, it will snap back to that golden section idea, because what SketchUp thinks is you want that. And so today, so we don't have to constantly draw out manually, is kind of tricky. We're going to type in our dimensions. And so you'll see that the dimensions down there do not match what we want. So we're going to type in our dimensions. The first thing I'm going to type in is 2 centimeters, 2 cm, comma. Then we have a long number, 1.236, then 0.68. That's really long, but that's okay. We only have to do it once. And type in centimeter, cm. And then press enter. Do not click, press enter. Alright, and so right here is the size rectangle that we want. I'm going to orbit just so we can kind of see it a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my selection tool, which is the arrow, and I'm going to click really far off of it, and I'm going to then hold down the mouse and move it so it's farther away. You'll notice now that the blue lines are all selected and the center. The reason why is right here, when I don't do that, I can manipulate either part. But we want to keep this all together and make sure that we move it all at the same time. So I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to click this button right here. This button makes it a component. So I'm going to call this square 1. Great. And so this now is considered one object. I can release it if I left click on it, and explode. That is not as exciting as you would think. It just turns it back to its original separate pieces. What I'm now going to do, I'm going to select it again, make it the component. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the component. I'm going to copy it, so Control C, then paste it, Control V. And here's my copied exact replica square. And what I want to do is kind of different, but I want for you to do exactly is I want for you to line up the first square directly on top of the second square, just like that. So you'll notice I went to that purple corner and clicked there. So what we're going to do next is I am going to orbit this, so I am looking directly at the side. And so I'm going to select one of our squares that we did, and I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to come, and I want this on the side. I'm going to click where it says midpoint in component, and I'm going to click on the red axis, and I'm going to rotate this to where it says 90-degree angle. So I could either type in 90, or I could just watch on the side for where the measurements usually is to see where it has a 90-degree angle. So I'm then going to orbit, see how this looks. You'll see that's perfectly in the middle, and it's perfectly up and down. So we are doing exactly what we want to do. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to pan over just a tiny bit. I'm going to orbit so I can see the side of it. Zoom in a bit. Orbit a little bit more. And what I want to do is I want to take this vertical piece right here, and I want to rotate it again. So I'm going to click my rotate button, and I'm going to click in the midpoint of my component. Then I'm going to go straight out, click, and I'm going to turn it, yet again, 90 degrees. So what I can do, if I want to look at it from the top, I can go from Camera, Standard Views, Top. And that's looking directly down on it from the top view. So in your multi-view sketch, this is your top view. The next thing I'm going to do is give my selection button again. Select this middle one, it's already selected, and I'm going to make a copy of it. Control C, Control V. So on my second one, I'm going to drag that so that it is lined up perfectly with the origin. And here's the thing, I want to turn it to make sure that's exactly lined up. Oh no, it is not. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I can click Move, and here's the trick. Grab the corner and drag it down to the other corner. If you don't do that, it gets really messed up very quickly. So you want to make sure that you drag down to the bottom corner. And so I'm going to go back up to my top view. Alright, so I have these two lined up right here. And what I want to do is I want to take one of these and rotate it so it's straight up and down. So all I need to do is orbit. I need to be looking at the front face of this. And make sure that my rectangle is selected. I'm going to click this rotate button again. And so there's the midpoint, but I want it in the direct center. So I'm going to click there, kind of come straight out, click. And then I'm going to rotate it just like that. And so let's look at this from the top view now. Camera, standard view, top. And so we are just about done. The last thing we need to do is we need to take the one that is up like this. So why don't I just make that more clear? We're going to take the red one and we need to rotate it so that it is coming out this direction. So I left it red just so I would know where it was. It won't mess up the printing at all. Sometimes I do that just to help me out. Feel free to do that on yours too. And so we want to see kind of like the side of this. And we're going to get to that rotate one last time. Get to our midpoint. Kind of come straight out. Oh no, we went in the wrong direction. This sometimes happens. So if that happens, what you can do, just click where you were and then click Control Z to kind of step back. And I'm going to orbit just a tiny bit more to find a better space. And so I might even go underneath it so I can see it very well. There we go. That's exactly what I want. Pan this towards our center. Get rid of this. We don't need it. And I'm going to rotate it right in the center. I like how I have that blue showing up. That's the color I want. Midpoint of component, click. Click straight out. And make sure that lines up. It's 90 degrees. Perfect. And so this is what I want your shape to look like right now. So I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit. So if you're looking at this, you're like, how on earth does this turn into this? And so what we have to do now is create our triangles. And so all you're going to be doing is connecting points here. So I'm going to take my line tool and I'm going to click my point and I'm going to click the point here. And you're like, there's no triangle. I'm going to click this point and then connect. There's my first one. And all you're going to do is look where the triangle should fit by connecting points. One here, and I'm going to finish that one out. And so right now, that one didn't make it, and so what I know is I actually missed my points. So I'm going to Control Z back. And so let's click the point. Those purple points are our friends. They tell us when we've actually hit the corners. I'm going to hit that corner there, straight corner there. So you can kind of see you just want to connect your purple points together, and sometimes we show green, that's fine. So that was ours there. So all I'm doing is connecting the endpoints of the 3 rectangles, and when I do that, I'm going to come up with 21 different triangles that all interconnect together perfectly. So notice I do a few, then I orbit. And so that one didn't look right. So I'm going to orbit again, and I'm going to see, oh, I didn't hit a corner there. So I'm going to press Control Z, and this time I'll hit a corner. So there's my corner, there's my corner, corner, there we go. Corner here, corner here. Got a spin. And I know I have corners here, here. This way I get all of mine in perfectly. So when you're doing this, you may accidentally not hit a corner. That's okay. I'll show you how to fix that in a second. But as you're doing this, it's going to start becoming more full. Another nice thing about turning the insides different colors, you can tell when you completely covered them. So notice that one, I created it inside, but it's not on the outside, so I gotta click here, here, here. There we go. So I'm gonna scroll, and this looks a little confusing, I know, but you'll kind of pick it up. We're gonna make our lines from this point to here, across. Orbit. See, we need a triangle right there. Point, point. And I believe we're just about done. We just have this guy here where we need the lines going straight across. And so I have my 21-sided figure. And so I'm looking at it. Ooh, that's my last one. Sorry. I'm looking at it, and I'm going to notice some of my lines are darker than my other lines. That means I've had a problem. So what I need to do is erase it, and it's going to look like I broke the shape, but I just need to connect the 2 line points again. Notice how that's a lighter color now. That's good. Beforehand, what was happening was like right here, this dark one, means I didn't exactly hit the points. And so if I tried to print it, it would print incorrectly. So I needed to erase it and add in a new line there so it will print correctly now. So I need to rotate through my entire thing. I'll do this a few times just to make sure I got it. Try different ways. Ooh, so for example, this line is darker than the rest. So I know I made a mistake there. I'm going to erase that one. Add in my line again. Endpoint to endpoint. So that way it's a nice light line. So make sure you rotate all through your shape, making sure you have it. So now you have your shape. What you need to do is come all the way up here to File, and then you're going to see this Export STL. Click on that. Make sure you're in millimeters and ASCII. Click Export, and you're going to give it a name. What I want for you to do is give it your first name, the first letter of your last name, and then call it Dice. That way I will know whose is which when I print it. Alright, you can press Save. It is now an STL on your computer, which is very important. So thank you so much, guys. Good luck.